We're going to be talking about a game that cost investors over $6 billion. That's billion with a B, and those are US dollars. This game also helped contribute to another company making an 11-figure mistake. And again, 11 figures in US dollars. That's over $10 billion. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about something crazy. And believe it or not, you are looking at the graphics of this $7 billion game right now. If you haven't guessed or haven't figured it out, this is a metaverse. And this is a metaverse that one time was one of the leading metaverses in the world. This was the future. People were pouring money into it. And at its height, this metaverse had a cryptocurrency tied to it that was worth over $7 billion or almost $7 billion. Canadian dollars, it might have been over 7 billion, but yeah, almost $7 billion. This is a game called Decentraland. And at one point, I did a few videos on this game because I thought it was interesting. I thought this could go somewhere. And as you can see, didn't really go anywhere. So we're going to be talking about this game. We're going to be talking about some people who spent over $1 million on one of these land parcels, where everything's at right now, what the game is worth right now, and what I think of the future. So let's get on the bus, sip some Kool-Aid, and see what happens. Welcome to Decentraland, folks. Let's start exploring. So the idea behind this game is a very interesting one. Everything you're seeing here is custom made. It's code. It's things that people could add to the game. It's a bit like Second Life, except way more expensive. If you don't know about Second Life, that is another rabbit hole for another day. So people buy these plots of land and they can build whatever they want on this land. The land is all connected by a basic map. You can see the map right here. It's a crazy map. You've got places all over. You get random things, and it looks interesting when you really take a look at it. It seems like a world where anything is possible. Unfortunately, when you jump into these lands, you find out that there really wasn't that much possible, and a lot of players really failed to do much with the land that they bought. For instance, here it looks like you've got a maze, you've got a dig site game, you got a 3 village quiz. This is probably one of the more advanced things that you can find in Decentraland. But you're gonna find for a game that cost many billions of dollars or was worth many billions of dollars at one point, there's really not much to it. These are simple arcade games that have been designed, and while the coding is hard to do, that doesn't necessarily make the game any more fun for the end users. In fact, running around here, it's like you don't know what's going on. Like I can't even tell you where the game is. This looks like some sort of Saudi land, maybe, which is interesting. What does it say here? Maze game. We have hidden artifacts inside the maze. Good luck. Collect all 7 and win a reward. So you go into the maze, you run around. Let's not even talk about the controls here. I'm going to turn down my mouse sensitivity just so I can make this a little bit easier to navigate. But this is not an easy game to navigate. And folks, I'm a gamer. I play games. So you can see, collect all 7, win a reward. Do I talk to this guy? I guess I do. Maybe, perhaps. But even when you go to chat to these people, you can't like you can't quite talk to them. You can't quite get in contact with them. It's all over the place. It's nothing against the person who designed this plot. This is what you're gonna find when you go throughout Decentraland. You're gonna find these little art projects and things like this, and they're interesting to see. And some of the art is cool. You can see this is a Dice Masters game. A lot of these games, you click in, it'll take you out of the game, so out of Decentraland and into something else because it turns out that these plots are not as viable as people thought. You can see right here, these are plots that people probably paid thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars for, and they never did anything with. There was an investment company that for one plot of land, they paid over a million USD. That is not a really good investment for an investment company to make, in my opinion. So yeah, going throughout the universe is interesting because this is essentially a dead game that never took off, but had a ton of money dumped into it. You can see here you got Discord links, Twitter links, website links, and essentially that's what's being paid for here. You've got all sorts of stuff. You got a New York concert which is featuring Malia. I don't know. Like I'm not really that big. It's decorated for Happy New Year's, which is interesting. I don't know which year, but they're either planning ahead or they're really behind. And you can see this is the thing. Like it's very interesting because there was stuff that went into this. There's probably music playing. I'm not gonna. I've got everything muted because sometimes that leads to issues with copyrights. People didn't always secure the copyrights to things they put in the metaverse. Here you can see there's a lot of unique sort of things that were added into the game. You've got like a Dragon Club, you've got a Meta Art Club. There's a lot of art galleries in this. It's one of the main things that this is sort of taken off as. It's a $7 billion art gallery, which probably makes it one of the more expensive art galleries in the world. Or at least at one point it was a $7 billion art gallery. I'm not trying to make this video to just rag on Decentraland, but I find it so crazy how this went down because when I first discovered the game, it was a very cheap game. Things didn't cost that much. Hey, it's a cool concept to play around with. Land was going for maybe $1,000. I thought that was a little bit insane. And then that whole metaverse thing took off. The multi-billion dollar company many times over that bought really far into this would be Facebook, who changed their name to Meta, and then it seems like they probably discontinued the whole metaverse project. Anyways, this is part of that whole thing. This was part of the Facebook, the Meta, the whole thing was blowing up, and everybody was 100% into it. They thought this would be the future, and it never occurred. Like it just never happened. You can see running through this. There's some interesting things here. There's some cool little projects and all that, but in my opinion, and I think in most people's opinion, there's nothing here that justifies the spend. Like how can you justify spending so much money? So you can see this is like a parcel view. So you can see parcels that everybody bought. These blue things are insanely expensive. You're talking about people who paid probably like a lot of money for it. Let's jump over here. This is an untitled scene. It looks very interesting. We're just gonna jump around to a few of these parcels. One of the things I have found is you can find some really interesting things here. It's cool to explore because people were allowed a lot of creativity with what they wanted to create. Okay, so here you can see this will
Because
probably
I'm
take
I'm
you out
still
to
waiting on
different
my other
games.
mushroom package. But basically, it's literally everything you just named
Oh, and
is what
someone's
I'm adding.
talking over here.
Um, that's funny.
But yeah,
Uh,
no,
Takis are my
welcome in,
favorite
Rowdy.
mushroom.
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, welcome in. We're usually drinking a lot of coffee in here. You'll hear brewing pots going. We usually, Biometa's on like 3 cups, and Rallo, everyone's drinking coffee in here. So I was like, let me reach out to the homie real quick.
You're
Uh,
on Twitter.
All right, so we just stepped off the land. What you heard there was a conversation between a bunch of blockchain developers. So there are people still using these games, right? Essentially, what they're doing here is they're creating blockchain games. They're using this plot of land to advertise those games, and and they're having little conversations here. So if you step in, you can hear the voice chat, I assume.
We're very
Step out,
familiar.
the voice chat disappears. That's how these plots work. So that's a cool use for it. It's just this is a huge amount of space and a huge amount of cost for what they're essentially doing. You've got a cool little virtual chat room, but is it worth, I don't know, millions of dollars? I'll let you be the ultimate decider there. It's cool. And this whole thing, it's still in its infancy. So one of the things is like the idea behind it is solid. A lot of the blockchain stuff, when I look at it, the idea behind it is solid. The amount of money that it brings in is insane. It's a bit like some of the insanity you see behind Star Citizen, where they promise a world and they can't deliver it until certain technologies come to fruition. You see that on blockchain, except it's on steroids. And Decentraland is the perfect example of this. Here you go. There's someone that probably decided to build their own house. They wanted to build like a lot of people did this. They thought they'd build their own like metaverse house and all their friends could meet and they could have little conferences, meetings, whatever you will. But what you end up with is a lot of interesting things have been developed, but essentially it's Sims, but you paid thousands of dollars to create your house. Here we go. This is a medword. So I don't have a passcode for this, so I guess I can't get in. So you can see, like, there has been some developments. When I first played this game, there was no real concept of passcodes or anything like that. So there was a code block that was developed that allowed that to be a thing. And it is interesting. I always do enjoy coming back because there's enough people to put enough money into this that people don't want to let it die. So you always do find something unique or interesting or cool when you're running around and exploring. And that's what makes it unique. There really is no filter on what people can do. You can build whatever you want. So here someone's built a basketball court. Unfortunately, this really doesn't have the whole NBA 2K programming thing, so you can't really play basketball in it. And look, even the inventory is pretty basic. For instance, this is my account. Let's go to my backpack, which has some stuff that I bought or have, I guess. A lot of it I just have. So, for instance, let's say I want to wear a bandana. I can equip that, and I'm bald. Let's unequip the bandana. My hat comes on, no problem there. Let's unequip the hat, and you can see I actually have hair, but the bandana doesn't represent that. It doesn't show that. There's a lot of other things like this. For instance, my character has a watch on right now. If I want to go ahead and put on a ring, I no longer have the watch, which makes absolutely no sense. If I put on the gloves, I can't have the watch or the wristband, and I can only wear it on one hand. It makes no sense. There's a lot of things like this, like even the pants. There's no concept of any sort of like baggy jeans. They're all skinny jeans or biz, which they call it elegant. To me, it just looks bland and boring. It, it's a style. You can say it's a stylistic choice, and that's probably what a lot of people would say to defend this. But in my opinion, there's a lot of maybe not laziness, but there's a lack of a cohesive idea behind it, in my opinion. Like, what is this game supposed to be? Is it a simulation? Is it a game where I should be able to jump into any world and code's going to execute and it's going to be able to play? I don't really know, and that's the problem here, right? Like, we're running around, we're exploring this world, and there's some cool stuff. Like, look at this, look at this. This is sort of cool, right? Like, you've got a whole coin that's been created. See, here we have the Dow Jones greenhouse. So this is probably the Dow Jones industrial. Like it's hard to know because sometimes what happens is people buy land and they create a whole thing for a company, and it looks like this could actually be run by the Dow Jones, but it turns out it's not, or it's some person who maybe they sent them an email that said I'm going to do this, and then never really heard a response back, and they decided that was good enough, and they went ahead with it. So it's hard to know what is real and what isn't when it comes to Decentraland, especially these land plots, because sometimes it's people that have a lot of time and they want to create something, and then sometimes these are legitimate. The companies actually built something there. With Dow Jones, I could definitely see it because the metaverse was popping off back in the day, and why not pay someone a couple thousand or $100,000 to do something with a space that they bought? Because to them, that's pocket change. I mean, to a lot of people, that's pocket change, but to a huge company like Dow Jones, that's probably nothing. I know there's some auction houses and things like that that do have properties in Decentraland and Sandbox and a lot of these crypto games, and for them, it's worked out. So there is a use case for it. I don't think the use case is exactly what people think. For instance, this place it's a campus, but it seems like it's completely empty. They're calling it Business Plaza. Okay. What is this here? Let's see what this says. Decentraland University District. So this is a district that's probably meant to be a university. People could come here and do talks, and it's for podcasts and things like that. And again, I could see this, but you've got to get the core user base here, and it doesn't look like they have it. If we go to the map, you can actually do points of interest. Hold on. If you go to the map and you go to discover, you can actually see what has the most people. So you can see some of these actually are pretty populated. It's a lot more than I thought. So you can see Meta Gammy Mall. I think that's where we were. If we jump in here, it looks like that has 18 users. So okay. They're cheating a little bit here. So the eyeballs, that's just how many people have seen it. I think 18 people. That's how many are active on it. So there's 18 people. I thought there were 772 people. I was like, that's sort of respectable. Genesis Plaza. That's where people spawn in. 3,900 people. That is this is where you start. This is where you start. And there's only 3,000 people who've seen it for however long they've been doing this, taking note of this. That is insane when you think about it. That is such a low number for such a huge investment. Because if you consider it, how much money was put into this game? $7 billion for 4,000 users. That makes Concord look like a successful venture. I mean, that is insane. Big thing that I know a lot of people did go to at one time was the casino, but you can see even here, the Central Games that used to be their big casino, even that's low, right? You've only got 3 people playing it right now. It used to be at least like 100. So you can see Decentraland itself has fallen off. And here we go. This is the good old Decentraland casino. People are over here gambling, doing all that. But nothing really ever happened. They're playing music. Let's get out of there before I get copyright striked. But you can see like they've got a casino, and that's sort of the basis of it. That's probably the most advanced thing that they've got. You can go in here and you can play blackjack, for instance. So they've got a competition running. See who can make the most. Let's just go up here. I'll show you how this works. You gotta wait for everything to load. Winko, I guess. Okay. So you can go up to any of these, I think, and you can another place right at the table. Alright. So you can select bet size. I like the music though, to be honest. It says free. Okay, so how do we play this? How do we play this? You have insufficient credits. Okay. So it's can bet 100 for free. So I just do it. I don't actually know how to play Plinko. Alright. It'd be nice if they had some sort of explanation of it, but I think I made it bad. I don't know what's gonna happen. Anyways, you can go over here. You can see roulette, right? Like you can join the game. Now you can go into your first person mode. You can bet 500. You can put it on thing, it's gonna spin the wheel, and then if I whatever my cards are, I'm gonna win some money, a bit fake money essentially, because none of this is really too dark. So at this point, maybe I'm gonna be top of the leaderboard. No, it doesn't look like it. Okay, because I think you can't be in top of the leaderboard if you're playing for free. Anyways, you can see like that's one of the most advanced things that's in Decentraland, and it's essentially just a blackjack game and a few basic casino games. Again, and this is the thing, like, it's a $7 billion game that turned out to be a few lackluster things, and for the most part, it's an art gallery. If you go to Discover and you go to like any of these games, this thing, it's got 18 people. This is the most advanced thing. We ran by it. It's still not that impressive. It's 18 people, and it takes a while to load. What is this? Oh, this wasn't where we were, I guess. Was it? No, this is a farming simulator. This is another game that they've created, I think. So you can see again, like this is interesting. It's cool, but it's not really that advanced. It's essentially an arcade game, and if you're really into it, you can get some wearables, you can get some stuff that you can wear in the game. But again, who's using this? Who's buying this? And it says a floor price for this. If you get this, you can trade it for 5 mana, which sounds okay, but 5 mana, that's about $1.25. It's cool if you like that sort of thing, but it's just it's insane to me to see a game that started out as a multi-billion-dollar venture that has now dropped down to a $500 million venture. And I honestly think seeing this is probably going to keep going lower because a lot of the people who are buying Mana Token, I think they're buying it. I don't know why. Like, there's from what I read, there's more people, or what I've seen, there's more people who have bought the token than have played the game, which means people are investing in something without even trying out the thing they're investing in, which to me is crazy. Again, nothing against the game developers. What they were originally trying to do, I think, is to make a decentralized game that could be run off a bunch of servers and sort of function like crypto. From what I've read, unless things have changed, all these servers are hosted by the developers, which means this is not a decentralized game. It's merely a game that is hosted on one set of servers and promises to be decentralized. Now, if you use cloud or Amazon or you can get away with like EC2 and claim it's decentralized that way. But no, I think the original idea that people were going for, what is this? Why did someone pay a ton of money to just make reflective flooring? Who knows? That's a mystery of Decentraland. Oh, here we go. Stuff is loading in, I guess. Maybe not. I think one of the things though about Decentraland, one of the things that people did like about it was it promised a cool idea. It would be really amazing to see a game that could be run by anyone, and there'd be nodes and all sorts of cool stuff like that. I like the idea of a decentralized game. I just don't think this is it. They were trying to create a decentralized MMORPG, I guess. A decentralized game you could essentially say would be Quake or Doom. Do not enter without B622 pass ID. What happens if I do? Absolutely nothing. And again, that's the thing. Like, you can see someone was trying to do something. They were trying to make this seem cool, but if there's no people, it's not cool. You've created a city with no citizens. That's not that interesting. It's cool to look through. Like I find it interesting to come through and see the art and everything like that. But again, where do we go after that? Let's see this open UI. So again, you go into these things. If you want to see the art, you've got to open your browser to see it. So that's not even in the game. You can see it in the game, but then to get like the better version of it, you've got to go outside of the game to your web browser. So this here, you have something inspired by recent things that have, yeah. And again, they're trying to sell a frame on Rarible, which is an NFT marketplace. So see, here you go. Like another thing, like you've got a thing that you can touch that'll turn off a light. These are cool art projects again, but not anything more than that. And for the amount of money that people put into this, you could build a lot of this stuff in real life. And look at that, I just ran through a building. So as you can see, it's a cool idea, but at this point it's been around for a couple of years. I think like 4 years now it's been around, and we've still got a game that lags a lot. We've still got a game that doesn't really have anything going. Still got something that I don't even know if you can call it a game. And I think this is a state that Decentraland is probably mostly going to be in. What do you think? Is Decentraland a $7 billion game that is merely having a low point right now, or is it something that's probably going to go to zero? Let me know down below in the comments. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit subscribe because I'm happy to do more like this, exploring the weird, the crazy, the awesome games out there in this universe that we call reality. Until next time, peace.